Hi everyone, it's Lisa. Thanks for joining me today and welcome to my sewing lair. I have cooked up some more math for you to hopefully make your quilting life easier. And today we're asking the universal question of how many diamonds will I get from my length of fabric? And to know the answer to that, we have to know, of course, what's the size of our diamond. In the example that I'm giving you today, our diamond is going to be 1.5 inches tall and 1.5 inches wide. So we're going to cut a strip of 1.5 inches. And we have to determine then how many pieces we're going to get from our length of width of fabric based on our usable fabric. And so the universal question is how many diamonds from a strip. I wanted to share with you, I spied something. I typically use 43 inches because selvage is a 1/2 inch and on each side, so a 1/2 inch times 2 is 1. However, I want to show you an example of where this would not work. This is a beautiful fabric from August Wren, this madras. I just absolutely adore it, and it's featured in the quilt that I'm making for my son. Now this happens to have 1 inch of unusable on this side, and I'm turning my fabric here, and of course this is the selvage, and again it's the typical 1/2 inch. So I have 1.5 inches on this particular fabric that is usable, and if I pair it with something that's longer, that piece is still unusable, so you need to use the shorter length. And we have to do a little bit of math, and we're going to be in Pythagoras land, which is a good land to be in, because if we can master this one formula and understand how it's used in our quilting, we don't have to rely on others so much to tell us the sizes and yields of things, nor do we have to go about and do it the hard way. Now I proved my theorem on this, so I have tested this and understand that your results, if you cut wrong or cut crooked or have to realign your strip, you'll end up with different results. So I would say use your result -1. All right, and that will give you room for error. And I'll tell you, doing it this way, you cannot realign your ruler at all to make special cuts. So I use a diamond ruler. It has excellent field of view, 3 points of accuracy before I make a cut, so I don't have to keep aligning my ruler. If you're cutting with a regular square ruler, then you're going to have those issues. So I would suggest that if this is a block that you like to make, get yourself a diamond ruler. I used a Creative Grids diamond dimensions ruler, but frankly I love it. I absolutely love it. But Adita Sitar now has the Alaska ruler, and I did get that ruler, and it's here someplace, but for some reason I can't put my hands on it in my ruler universe. I'm sure it's tucked in someplace. I'm trying to give a little bit of a look, but I don't see it. But the point is that ruler is small, so I have a lot of alacrity in terms of being able to turn it. And oh, here it is. Here's the Alaska ruler, and I have not made her beautiful Montana quilt or her other quilts, but what I did like about this ruler is it's smaller. So it's this ruler versus this ruler. Now I like the markings on the Creative Grids ruler much better than the markings on this. I can see where I am more easily. It has better field of of vision. But this ruler is obviously, it's about a fourth of the size. And I'm glad to have it. I just got it yesterday and I was testing it out. But I think these 1/4 inch lines could be better marked. And again, it's not the same field of view, but it works really quite well. But if you're using a ruler such as this, I promise you, you will be doing a lot less true up. And, is this an investment? Yes, it's an investment. It's 30 odd dollars. Is this an investment? Yes, this is an investment. This is, 40 something dollars. But I use these rulers all of the time, and the larger Creative Grids Diamond Dimensions ruler is great for mitering borders. So if quilting is your love, make sure that you have the tools that you need to save fabric, because rulers are a constant. Fabric is your raw materials, and if you waste those, then that's what's costing you money every time you pick up a ruler that you've already invested in as part of your quilting experience. Excuse me. All right. So now let's get back to the matter at hand. We're just going to use 43 at this point. And what we have to do is, because this is the length that we're trying to measure. We're trying to measure this length, all right, from the tip of the diamond to the shoulder of the diamond. And that is calculated by this. This is the hypotenuse of a square. All right. So if we drop our line down, let's go here. If we drop this line down, this is going to be a square, because we know this is a 45-degree angle. All right. So how we measure this, and why is this important? Well, this side is the same as this side and this side and this side, and that is our length. That's exactly what we're trying to calculate. So it's very simple. We take the strip width, because that's the side of the square. It's a right angle square. This is the hypotenuse. So we take 1.5 with the side of the square times 1.414, and we get 2 1/8. All right. That's really all you need to know. Just take this and you got 2.8. So now when you're trying to compute your yield, it's quite simple. You're taking the number that you get here, which is 2.125, you're dividing it into 43, and you're going to get 20. Now, again, if you've got some errors in your cutting, you're going to, subtract at least 1 from that. So you're going to get, let's say, 19 to 20. Or if you make a really gross error, well, you can figure that out. So let's use another example, and we'll work in the space here. Now, if my strip is 5 inches, and you're making really big diamonds, okay? So we're going to take 5 inches times 1.414, and of course, I don't have my other calculator here. Hold on. I couldn't find my small calculator among my things, and of course I'm using my phone to video. So the answer to this burning question is 5 times 1.414, and that's going to give us 7.07, and that's going to be the divisor, right? So 43 divided by 7.07 is equal to 6.08, and we can only use 6. So consider that a little helpful hint for you as you do your planning for making your your blocks, and let me show you a useful application. Okay, so we've reached our so what Lisa moment, and I want to explain that for you. So now I have a block. I've shared this with you, what I was doing on my all these extraneous strings. I love this. I love this block. I love this material. But the so what moment is, so let's say that you're organically building a quilt, as I am here, and you want to figure out what your fabric requirements are. So let's take, for example, this particular block, and we're just going to focus on the block. And let's say that I am going to make 10 blocks. And I've got fabric A, which is this, and I've got fabric B. The construction of this isn't so important, other than to know that these are 1.5. It's along the same line as our original example, and that's why I chose it. This is 1.5 inch diamonds together. And even if you're sewing these together, your math doesn't change because you're still cutting your diamond strip, even though your diamond strip, when you're cutting from, two strips together, which are 2.5 inches, using this math, you're still cutting it at 1.5. So the math that we presented is the same. So we're doing 10 blocks, and they're measuring at 9.5 inches finished. All right. And they are, fabric A is a strip of 1.5 inches. And if you were doing different strip sizes, for example, if these weren't equal, you would, modify the math for the different. This is also a strip of 1.5. So each of these diamond blades has two fabrics on them. And so that means that we've got 8 diamonds. We've got 2 diamonds of each fabric in our single diamond, in our compound diamond. So that's times 2. So for fabric A, I need 16 diamonds, and because they're paired together. And so this is for A, this is for B. So I need 16 diamonds to make 1 block for each of these fabrics. So that's that. Now, where do we go from here? Well, if I know that my width of fabric is going to give me 20, right? And I'm going to do, so that this is my yield. Yield per width of fabric is 20 for each of these fabrics. So if I've got 16 times 10 blocks, that's equal to 160. And each width of fabric is going to give me 20 of these. So I need 8 widths of fabric. So 8 times 1.5 is equal to 12 inches. We have 36 inches in a yard. So for each block, we basically need, for each colorway of a block, not for each block. So if I've got 10 blocks of 2 fabrics, I need 1/3 of a yard each. Now, naturally, you would want to increase this a little bit to allow for any errors that you might make in cutting. So you might want to add, go up to the nearest quarter yard or eighth of a yard. I don't I don't typically I typically have yardage and then I figure out what to do with it. I know that's kind of backwards from what most people do, but I don't buy quilt patterns. I do everything organically. And this is an organic pattern for me and an organic block. So there you have it. The not so inscrutable answer to the question, what is my yield for a diamond, and how do you easily calculate it? Join me again for burning questions of the quilting universe that I will ponder and drag you through my tortured method of explaining it to you. But I hope that you had a good takeaway from this and taking a step towards becoming a little bit more independent on how you craft your quilting patterns and being self-reliant, not dependent on others. Thanks for joining me.